So this unit is going to be on biochemistry. Bio means the study of life. Chemistry is the reactions that we're really going to concentrate on, are the reactions that occur in your body. And they really consist of 4 main reactions that we're going to really just touch on in this unit, but we're going to really elaborate on later. Like carbohydrates are really going to be the focus of the next exam, and protein and nucleotides, they're going to be the focus of the 3rd exam, and lipids are also in exam number 2. So today we're going to just touch on them, but in the future we're really going to hit them hard. And these are the 4 main topics that we're going to cover. Carbs, what they do for our body. Lipids, how we use them. Proteins, what are they? How do we bring them in? And how do we make them? Why are they so important? And then nucleic acids, and they fall under 2 groups, DNA and RNA. And why are they so important as well? In chemistry, if you really break it down, they sort of subdivide into 2 groups, and those groups break down even more, but we can study organic chemistry, which is basically just the things that have carbon in them and usually has something to do with a biological function in life, or inorganic compounds, and those are molecules that do not have carbon in it. So NaCl is sodium chloride. Oxygen, and a few others that we'll start talking about, iron and a couple others. A hydrocarbon, if you ever get stuck on a word, break the word down and try to come up with this one. So for instance, this is how hydrogen and carbons come together, and we're mainly made up of hydrocarbons, hydrogens and carbons that come together that do the majority of the reactions in our body. These hydrocarbons vary in shape and size, and if you remember back from our other videos, structure equals function. So the shape of what something looks like really dictates its function. If it's got a certain shape and size, it's going to do a specific thing. And if there's anything wrong with that structure, it's not going to function correctly. And the majority of these things we're going to call in human bodies, if they're making something and the structure is not correct, so the function is gone, those are the majority of those genetic diseases, and we'll talk about them later. You could see that the structure really does dictate what something looks like. And please don't remember any of these and the formulas of what they're looking like, but what I wanted to dictate to you is that how something looks really does dictate how it moves and functions. And when I think about structure equaling functions in chemistry, I think about your house key or your car key. If it has a certain shape and its structure really dictates the function of turning the car on or opening the front door of your house. If a few of those little bumps or grooves were to be bent or changed just slightly, the structure has now changed, and the function is going to be to kind of upset you because you're not going to be able to start your car or get in your house. That's just because those grooves have changed maybe over time, or somebody was malicious and took one of those grooves out. Here's another example of how structure really does dictate functional groups. So what you're seeing here is estradiol. It's a hormone that's very specific to helping you become female. Down here, there's a hormone that's called testosterone, and that's very important in becoming more male-like. Now you'll notice that these two look very similar in shape, but there's a few little differences. So for instance, in the estradiol or estrogen, the OH group is at the end. Here's just oxygen. In the male, there's a CH3, and in the female, there isn't a CH3. So if one of these were made incorrectly, they wouldn't work, and there'd be some major difficulties. But you could see that because these two are slightly different, the reaction is completely different. So for instance, anybody with estrogen in it is going to be more female-like. Anybody with more testosterone in it is going to be more male-like. And then I was just going to go ahead and do this one last thing with you. This is a really important reaction. If you know this, the rest is going to be easy, and you just kind of have to sit with there and think about it. But let me try to give it to you in the most simplest terms possible. So here is one compound, and here's another. And we want to put them together. So what we do is we take the hydrogen from one and the OH from the other, and we remove it. And that becomes water. Hydrogen and oxygen, H2O, that becomes water. And you could see that this used to be one thing, this used to be another, and now they're put together as one big structure. So anytime we want to build molecules together to become bigger, that's going to be called a dehydration reaction. Now, I know it seems weird, and when you think about dehydrators, you think about those weird machines that take, something like a strawberry and suck all the liquid out, and it becomes tinier. Well, this is the opposite, and I wish that device didn't exist, but what this is doing is removing the water to basically make something bigger. So you have structure 1, structure 2, you want to make them bigger, you take the water out, it becomes bigger. Dehydration reaction. Now, let's say we're at the opposite. We want to take this large molecule and break it down. We add water to it. So you'll see one side will have OH, the other one will have H, and the process of adding water to something to break it down is called hydro. Hydro means water. Lysis means to break. And you'll see this in anatomy, you'll see this in all of the biologies. You'll see this word lysis. And it's always going to be for something that's going to break things down or destroy something. So hydrolysis is water being added to this one molecule to turn it into two. And OH comes on one side, hydrogen becomes on the other side. These two reactions are really important for the next couple that we talk about because they'll dictate how those things become bigger or smaller. You go ahead and let's say you eat a large sugar, carbohydrate. Your body can't use it in that form. It's got to break it down in your small intestines to much, much smaller molecules. So your small intestines are going to do this reaction called hydrolysis. They're going to have enzymes to break those carbs down into the smallest components that you can use, which is glucose, which we'll talk about soon, and be able to use it in your body. Now, let's say you have a whole bunch of these small molecules running around your body, and you either have to use them for something or store them. Your liver, your other parts of your body might go ahead and start to put them in bigger chains and store them. And that's basically what they're going to do is take the water out and then make it a little longer and then store it or use it for whatever it needs to. So these two reactions are reversible. These two reactions usually are done with an enzyme. And an enzyme will either build things up or break things down. And we're going to talk about enzymes probably in our next unit. So don't get nervous if you don't really know what an enzyme is. Great.